Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Alicia. Today I'm going to be talking about my 60-day experience on the animal-based diet, which is a version of carnivore that includes a little bit of fruit, some vegetables, and a little bit of dairy also. Today I will talk about the good parts, the not so good parts, and also the strange parts. And I'm going to get started with the good parts. So in the very first week of this diet, I lost about 5 pounds of inflammation, and that felt really good in my body. I continued to lose another 5 pounds over the rest of the first month. And then over the second month, I didn't lose any more pounds. I kind of fluctuated between like 140 and 143 pounds, which for me is actually a really good weight to be at. But what I did notice, which was a really good thing, I could see some more muscle definition happening in my body, almost like the recomposition of my body was changing. And I wasn't doing any workouts. I still haven't added that back in. And I just thought it was really interesting. Like in some lights, I'll even look down and kind of see like abs, and I'm like, whoa, like I have abs again? I don't deserve them. I haven't been doing anything fitnessy at all to get abs. So I think the recomposition stories that people tell about this diet are actually true, because that really does seem to be what's happening to me. I'll pop a photo up right here just so you guys can see. The first month is the first photo is the very beginning of the diet. The second photo is 1 month in after I'd lost about 10 pounds. And the third photo is from today, where maybe you can see a little bit more muscle definition on me, even though I didn't lose any more weight. And I know it's really subtle, like no one in my real life has noticed or commented on it anyway, so I'm not sure if it's going to be really easy to see or not. Another massive benefit that I've experienced is that I used to get debilitating headaches like 1 or 2 times a week. They would last between 1 and 3 days, and they were horrible. So this month I only got 2 headaches, and they both lasted a very short amount of time. I think one was about 6 hours, and it wasn't even that bad. And then I got one right before my period started, which is very normal for me. And that one also, like, not as severe as it usually is, and it only lasted throughout the evening, and the next day I was able to wake up and not have a headache and go mountain biking, and it was really challenging, and I still didn't get a headache after that. So that is like a huge change for me, and it's very exciting because it's a message from my body telling me that maybe it's time I can start to add in a bit of fitness again, which was my goal in starting this diet. Like my goal, but also my hope, because I didn't know if it was going to work or not, just removing all of the oxalates and most of the vegetables. And basically that's all I've done. You know, I eat meat 3 times a day, and I eat a little bit of fruit in the evening, and I'm feeling now maybe that I will remove the fruit, because one other benefit that happened this month was that my oxalate dumping symptoms have basically stopped. So I'm feeling like maybe I can explore taking out the fruit from the diet and just kind of seeing how that feels. Of course, if it gets horrible, I'll just add it back in. It's not a big deal, but that was the reason that I actually kept fruit in, was because I was having oxalate dumping symptoms and I felt like I needed to control them. And it's only been like 3 weeks maybe without having them. And I still do actually get the eye crystals forming in my eyes, and I'll like pull them out. That's the only thing though, and that's pretty minimal for me. Another thing that has happened is that my period cycle lengthened 3 days, which is a bit strange, and I'll take it. I'll take it as a benefit. Stretched out lengths between periods is always going to be a good thing. Other than that, my cycle hasn't changed at all. It's still horrible. I actually have really painful and intense periods. So I'll keep up the diet, and hopefully that'll change. I've heard other people say that their periods improve and they become less painful and less heavy, but we'll see if that happens to me. I really hope it happens. That would be so cool. So June is like a really crazy month for me. It's like intense. We're out of the house every single night. I have to cook supper at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon to get everything ready, and just all the housework and all of my own work early in the day, and it's just non-stop, right? So Another benefit of this diet is that it has been so simple. It's actually removed so much stress and so much decision fatigue from my plate because I'm just cooking meat. And if I don't happen to have an adequate amount of vegetables to form what we might think of as a full rounded meal, oh well, it's just meat with like whatever's in the fridge. I put it out for the boys. So they've actually been eating quite a bit more meat based without realizing it, probably because they still eat tons of snacks and other things. But yeah, that's been really good for me, just the simplicity of the meals. Another thing is that I've learned how to cook more cuts of meat. So for me, increasing my culinary skills is a benefit as well. That's going to help out just in general of being able to create more meals with, I guess, with cheaper cuts of meat. Like, I find cheaper cuts of meat are usually more challenging to create beautiful meals with, but like, it's great once you learn. Like, I learned how to cook pork shoulder picnic roasts this month. I got this big pork box from a local farm. It just had like random cuts and things I've never heard of. And the first picnic roast I cooked, it was like, okay. And the second one, I did something a little bit different with it. And it was like amazing. It was so good. So that's a benefit for me. It's like forcing me out of my culinary zone and just like helping me to learn more things. Another interesting and great benefit that I noticed this month was that my libido increased a lot, and I wouldn't have described it as low before, but maybe it was a little bit low in the second half of my cycle, which biologically I always thought was pretty normal, because in the first part, like, that's the part where you can get pregnant, especially around ovulation. So from day 1 to like 16 or whatever, it was always pretty high. But then after that, it would just decline until the next cycle began. And I thought that was normal because, like, biologically, you cannot reproduce in the second half of your cycle generally. And so it just made sense that my body wasn't that interested in sex at that point of the month. But now it is, for whatever reason. And I'll take it because that's fun. And I think it's actually a pretty strong marker of health to have a higher libido. So exciting and fun. My sense of smell has still been going through the roof. I know I talked about that in my last update video. It's really strong. I think I would actually put this in the category of the weird because, well, I don't know, it's like not always a good thing. Now when I walk through grocery stores, I can smell things that aren't good, like rancid things in the fruits and vegetables section and the meat section, and just like people smells. If someone's wearing perfume, it's like really intense sometimes, or just like the colognes on some of the men, and I don't know, like noticing that stuff. Or going into people's houses sometimes. You know how everybody's house has its own smell? Now I smell like other things like that aren't just the smell of the house. And sometimes they're not good, and I don't want to say anything, but I'm like, it's just something I noticed. I don't really know that it's good or bad. I suppose it's good because I'm not going to choose rancid meat or something like that might be going off soon. And sometimes it is really good. Like when I walk in the forest, I can smell the most amazing things, and like that is like a really enjoyable experience. But waking up to the scent of someone forgetting to take out our compost bucket the night before, even though my bedroom is down the hall, and like that's the first thing I smell in the morning, like it's not the best, but it's a thing. It's a good reminder. Take out the compost, I guess. Yeah. So I'm just looking at my notes here. I wrote them down so I wouldn't forget anything. I have also experienced greater oral health, I think. So I had a cavity worked on last year, about a year ago, and it was sensitive for up until last month. Like I couldn't chew on that tooth if it was like a harder food. Like I was always just kind of being careful and mindful of it. And now I can eat anything on that tooth, and it's just like all of my other teeth. It's very regular and normal, and it's going really well. So I don't know if it just needed like one more month to finish its healing so it wouldn't be sensitive, but I do think that it was actually the diet that helped it to complete its healing cycle and not be sensitive anymore. And I've noticed like all of my teeth are less sensitive now. I can put like ice or frozen fruits in my mouth and it's not like shocking or anything like that. So my teeth are feeling really strong and really good and really clean all of the time too. It's really great. I continue to have really good sleeps, and my heart rate variability continues to be on an upward trend. So I don't know if you guys track your heart rate variability. It basically just is like the space between heartbeats, and it's a measure of how well you're recovering through the night. A lot of people with Garmin watches or people that do like a lot of training might track that just to see how good their recovery is going, and if you're training too hard or going through too much stress during the day. And there's certain ways that you can try to help your heart rate variability through the night, like not drinking alcohol, not eating sugar before bed, things like that. So mine continues to be on an upward trend, although it's very slow. It's not like a big jump. It's just like every couple weeks it goes up like one number. So it's something that's good, I think. Being able to sleep better is good, and just recovering better through the evening is also a good thing. So if I get into the cons now, the eye crystals continue to be a problem. I woke up the other night, sometime in the middle of the night, and I was trying to see what time it was, and I was looking at my phone, and I couldn't see it. Like my eyes were like fully blurred, and I could not see the numbers on my phone. And it's because there's like little crystals that like need me to like work them out and pick them out. That was so disorienting, and I didn't enjoy it at all. And then eventually I was like, wait, my phone or my watch, and I looked at my watch and it has bigger numbers, so I was able to see what time it was. But that was just disorienting, and I didn't really like it. Another thing is eating at other people's houses. We don't eat out in restaurants very often, and if we did, I would just call ahead and plan accordingly. I think that's less difficult than asking people, what are you cooking for dinner? And telling them if it's acceptable for you or not. I don't do that. I do it really nicely if I do that. Like yesterday, we went out for Canada Day to my parents' house, and they were cooking smokies, and I was like, well, I don't like some of the ingredients in smokies, and I don't usually feel good if I eat smokies anyway, so I brought a strip loin, and I cooked that instead, just inside, and everybody else still had a barbecue and had their smokies, and I ate a strip loin, and nobody really even noticed. So is it a con? Yeah, probably, because you have to plan ahead, and if it's someone I'm not as comfortable with, like that was my mom's house, like that's really comfortable, it might get a little bit weirder. Like tonight we're going to my husband's parents' house, and they're gonna cook hamburgers and hot dogs, and probably the hamburgers will have gluten and stuff in them because I know they're gonna be just in a box from the store, and I'll probably bring something else, and it might be a little bit more awkward, but that's okay. I'd rather feel healthy than not be awkward, I guess. So another thing that is a con is I'm slightly worried about not being able to digest certain things. And it's mostly for the purpose of travel, which is one of my favorite things in the whole world. But I'm just imagining like going to Europe and not being able to have like gelato or the pizza or the bread or whatever. And I'm a little bit concerned about that. And I know that that's like we don't travel that often or whatever, but that's to me is like a really big part of an experience, like going other places. Like one of my favorite things to do is go eat in other countries and go to grocery stores in other countries. It's so fascinating. I love it. And I'm like, what am I gonna do? So I've been exploring this concept of hormesis, and I think some people do this where they once a week will eat something that's completely off plan. So maybe eat like a piece of sourdough bread every Saturday or like whatever, something like that, just to keep up enough gut bacteria that you can digest other foods. I don't know. I'm gonna look into it a little bit more before I decide exactly what to do about that, but that is just a slight concern to me. And I guess it's not really that big of a deal. Yeah, that's the end of my cons though. Like that's pretty good. I think that this diet is going really well for me, and I am super excited to be able to start training again this month. Like I haven't really felt this good in years, I think. And I think sometimes it takes the healing to really even know how unwell you were in the first place. Like you just kind of go on this really slow, gradual decline, and you think you're normal, you think you're well, minus that I was having like horrible headaches and nervous system disorder. But other than that, like I was like, yeah, I'm a healthy person, but I wasn't at all. And like the better I start to feel now, the more I start to realize like how deep I actually was in being kind of unhealthy. So I don't know. it's good. I feel very excited, very motivated, and I'll be making a video soon about how training is going. I've been looking into what I want to do. I definitely want to increase my cardiovascular so that I can keep up on trails like mountain biking. I have a lot of friends that trail run, so I want to be with them. I'm going to start doing a little bit of that, trying to get my cardio up, and I'm going to be working on calisthenics a little bit as well because it's a good match to yoga. I still do a lot of yoga, and calisthenic strength is it's like different but translates well. So anyway, I'll talk about that in another video. But if you are trying this diet, I would love to hear about it in the comments. I love it when people leave comments. Thank you so much if you have left a comment before. I love responding to them. I love knowing who's watching and just having those little conversations with you guys. I love hearing how it's going. Like, anecdotal evidence to me is really just like, it's valuable. It's accurate and it's valuable because there's no study behind it. There's no ulterior motive. It's just somebody's story. And to me, I just believe that and I value it a lot. So if you leave a comment, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. We'll talk soon. Bye.